by side. All right. Just to point out, there's a lot of questions in the box. In Mitzvah Hashem, we'll get to everything. Bezrat Hashem. And like I said, so I don't have a system of what I answer first. So it could be a question came in a long time ago and it'll be answered only in a while. But Lina, we'll get to everything. Question: can you learn Gemara before davening? All right. So can you? So the rule is like this. And according to Shulchan Aruch, when a Yid wakes up in the morning, the first thing he does is daven. There's nothing else before davening. You wake up in the morning, you wash Negelwasser, Maidani, say brachas, and then you daven right away. There's no room for anything else. Hasidim have introduced from the Alter Rebbe and before that you have to have preparations for davening. Preparations for davening, it's really in Shulchan Aruch also, that before you start davening, you have to think about Hashem. So, in addition to thinking about Hashem, there's learning Chassidus, which helps you think about Hashem. And then there's a Gemara which says that even though you're supposed to daven first thing in the morning, you can give tzedakah, it helps you for davening also. So what ends up happening is that there's a number of things we do in the morning before davening that are to help us enhance our davening. And therefore, we have a seder of learning Chassidus before davening. Other than that, a person's not meant to be doing anything else before davening, straight away go to daven. However, if someone has a set time when he davens, a person has a set time when he's davening, so then there's more room to be lenient in doing other things before davening as well. And this is what happens in many places when people have a set time for davening, so they do other things beforehand. People can sometimes work earlier, and then they afterwards they'll daven to whatever it is. People that work for 5 o'clock in the morning, so they'll work from 5 to 7, then they'll daven afterwards. The Shachtim and Agri, often they have to daven after work. So that's fine because it's to have a set time, if they have a set time, when they daven. Other than that, learning before davening is just like any activity before davening, which is frowned upon, which is not ideal. So it's not about Gemara. So when it comes to learning Chassidus, just to clarify, when it comes to learning Chassidus, it's a lot more okay and correct to learn it because it enhances your davening, versus Gemara doesn't. If someone feels that Gemara enhances his davening, then Adarab, if he feels that by learning Gemara his davening gets better, then in my opinion, it would be the same idea. But in Shulchan Aruch, the way it's described always is that you have to, the first thing in the morning is daven. Yes? It's a good question. And the answer is that you have to continue learning Chassidus anyway. Because these things sometimes take time. Sometimes it takes time until the Chassidus has an effect on you. Question: how do you start to enjoy learning? This is a question that every bacher asks. So, what do you say? Over time. So the general answer, the general approach is that when you know how to do something, you enjoy it. When you know how to do something well, you enjoy it. People that know how to play sports well, they enjoy playing that sport. People that know how to do Rubik's Cube very well, unlike Label, so they enjoy it. They try to figure out what he's doing over there. Just joking. So when you know how to do something, you enjoy it. So how do you get to enjoy it? By learning how to do it very well. When you learn how to do it very well, you enjoy it. That's most of the time. There are people that know how to play soccer very well, and they don't like and even though they know how to play it, they don't like playing it. But that's rare. But derech klal, when you know how to do something very well, just like me, true. Because I think that I know how to play. That's why. But people that if you the answer, how do you get to like it? By knowing how to do it. When you know how to do it, then you start liking it. How do you know how to do it? Practice. Just like if you want anything else you want to be good at, so you have to practice doing it. So that's a general answer. Then there's a story that we like to say that I heard a story with a name. The name is Stern from Crown Heights. I think he's involved in Shmira or Shaimrim or Chevra or Chavayrim. There's also two others. The story goes that it could be it's not his name, but the story goes that he was a bacher that didn't like to learn, like many others. And he told the Rebbe, it's like, I don't like learning. What should I do? I really don't enjoy it. So the story goes that the Rebbe told him, can you learn for 5 minutes a day? Well, it was Nachum Markowitz. Okay, fine. So I'm wrong about Stern. I remember hearing about somebody else. Either way, the Rebbe said, can you learn 5 minutes a day? So 5 minutes I can do. So the Rebbe said, okay, so let's make a deal. You learn 5 minutes a day, not less, but not more. Are you ready for that? He was like a surprise. What do you mean not more? The Rebbe is telling me not to learn more than 5 minutes. What does that mean? But yeah, for sure. The Rebbe says that. He's very happy with that. And the story goes that he came the next day to 770. He opened up a chumash. He starts reading chumash, and he makes sure 5 minutes are done. And happened to be an interesting part of the chumash. But he promised the Rebbe he's not going to learn more than 5 minutes. So he closed the chumash. Chumash is Torah. And he closed the chumash. And then after a couple of days, it kept happening. So he asked the Rebbe permission, can I learn more? The Rebbe smiled, and the Rebbe said, yeah. So that's another way of learning, enjoying learning, is by finding the parts that you like and learning over there and slowly developing a feeling. So those are two general eitzes. Of course, every person should speak to his personal mashpia for more information. Baruch has a question, which I'm not going to read the question. It's number 15. The Baruch is basically asking about something, and the answer is, I don't care. His question is, do I care? And in this situation, number 15, my answer is no. In that case, I don't care. But if it's taka the way you say, then I don't care. Question is number 15. There's a medrsh that comes from Emry that comes from Emry Achai that we learn from this possuk that you can shecht for a chayla on Shabbos. What's up with that? Okay, so the Bacher is testing me. But there's something called medrsh pliya. Medrsh pliya is two things. There's medrsh pliya where you have midrashim, that midrashim say something which are very random and don't make sense. So you have that in Gemara also, but you have a random statement in Gemara, something which doesn't make sense. But then apparently there's something else where it's basically a riddle. Somebody wrote, this equals this. Now go figure how this equals this. So this is a medrsh pliya which says that when Avraham Avinu tells Sarah, say that you're my sister when we go into Mitzrayim, from that we learn that you're allowed to shecht animal for someone that's sick on Shabbos. So the Bacher is asking, what's the answer to the medrsh pliya? So I assume the Bacher didn't see the medrsh pliya inside. I assume he's testing me if I know the sikh of the Rebbe on it, letter of the Rebbe on it. So yes, I know the letter of the Rebbe on it. The Rebbe has a letter on this subject. Someone asked the Rebbe, what does this mean? And the Rebbe gives a number of answers. But one of the Rebbe's answers is like this. The Rebbe said when Avraham was telling Sarah, say that you're my sister. Otherwise, what's going to happen? If you're going to say that you're my wife, what's going to happen? Anybody remembers Chumash? They're going to kill Avraham, right? So l'chayra, why are they going to kill Avraham? Because Pare would want to live with Sarah. But so there are two Avedas. Why would Pare rather kill Avraham than live with Sarah? Why is this an easier Aveda than the other one? The answer is because killing is a one-time act. Avraham once the husband is dead, he's dead. But if she's still married, every time Pare is going to be with her, it's going to be another Aveda. So basically, it's worth it to do one Aveda instead of doing many Avedas. So when it comes to on Shabbos, so the question is, if a person has non-kosher meat, and then there's a kosher animal, so what's better, to feed him the not kosher meat or shech the animal? So here we see that better to do the one-time act of killing, and this way you're saving yourself from all the b'yes asordis. So similarly, better to shech the animal on Shabbos. You did one avera instead of eating the treif, which is every bite is another avera. That's how the Rebbe, one of the answers the Rebbe suggests in that letter. If you want to see more information, let's look at the Sichos Chelik Tezvav, page 487. We can see more. Shechting is one of it. You don't have to eat the raw meat afterwards. Question, is one allowed to brush their teeth on Shabbos? So this is a big shaila, which the way it seems like is the bigger rabbanim that know their stuff more are a lot more lenient. The minhag b'payil is that most people do not brush their teeth on Shabbos, and some people don't brush their teeth even on the weekdays. Zalni? Once a week. Twice a week, okay. So, but one of the big poskim, one of the big Lubavitcher poskim you guys should be familiar with is Rabbi Avraham Chaim Noah. Anybody heard of him before? Rabbi Avraham Chaim Noah? No, what did you hear about him? His name. This sefer is called K'tois HaShulchan. Rabbi Avraham Chaim Noah did something which many Bachim would love to have. He made a Kitzur Shulchan Aruch of the Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch. Unlike the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, which we have to add all Alter Rebbe's additions, and all every time you're not so sure what we do, he made a Kitzur of Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch. So I once asked someone, like, why don't we learn it? And the answer is because his Kitzur Shulchan Aruch looks like this. You have 5 lines on the top, and you have tons and tons on the bottom. So every siman, it goes on and on. He basically wrote 2 svarim in one. He wrote a kitzur with Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch, but on the bottom, he wrote tons of pilpulim and chidushim, and he doesn't even have the entire Shulchan Aruch. He only has certain sections, and that itself is like 9 volumes. Or today's 3 volumes. It used to be 9 volumes. They put it at 3 in 1. So that's why people don't learn it. But he's considered. But he's considered the Lubavitcher possuk, one of the big Lubavitcher poskim. A lot of correspondence with the Rebbe. We have a bach in yeshivah that is Ur named after him, Avram Chaim. Yeah, so he's named after his grandfather, named after his grandfather. So he writes, "Mudar l'shafshef hashinayim b'Shabbos v'mishcha asur lekach l'nachas hashinayim." You're allowed to use toothpaste on Shabbos. However, he says, don't put it on a toothbrush. Rather, put it on your finger. So he says, if you put toothpaste on your finger and you can go like that and clean your teeth, that's perfectly fine. He says that's not a problem. And he says the reason why not to put it on the toothbrush is because of uvdin d'choil. Uvdin d'choil is the reason why most of us don't do many, many things on Shabbos. Uvdin d'choil is the most gray area in Hilchos Shabbos. Uvdin d'choil means it's a weekday kind of behavior. So many Baruch when they learn Uvdin d'choil, so I can't put on my pants because it's Uvdin d'choil. Can't walk down the street, Uvdin d'choil. Like, I can't do whatever. Everything's Uvdin d'choil. So it's a very, very gray area. No, this is considered a weekday activity. Uvdin d'choil is the most gray area in Hilchos Shabbos. There you go. Seder on Shabbos. Uvdin d'choil, making Seder on Shabbos. Very, very gray area. And that's why some people say if you put the toothpaste on your teeth first, and then you put the toothbrush, then it's fine. Because Uvdin d'choil gets saved. I mean, it becomes permitted if you do it b'shinu. So if you put your toothpaste on your teeth and then you put the toothbrush on top of that l'chayra should be fine. Now there are other poskim that say not to. Other poskim say there's a problem of mimareach. Mimareach is when you're taking a thicker substance, like a kind of like a Vaseline or something, and you're smearing it. But Avraham Chaim says there's no issue with mimareach. You're putting it on your teeth, it's not a problem. And he says basically it's permitted. Another solution that people do for brushing teeth on Shabbos is where they put basically mouthwash on their toothbrush, which is also not regular, and that also is another way of cleaning. But the pastors again, so it's a lot more lenient than you think, but there are the peril mamish, the minig is that people don't. I shouldn't say people. Many people don't. I know I know people from families of Rabbanim that they do brush their teeth on Shabbos because their father said it's fine. But people that don't know just assume that it's forbidden and they don't. Yeah. So Bichlal, the way it works is most people, when they brush every day, it doesn't bleed. If you don't brush for a couple of days and then you brush, then you're going to bleed. But if you bleed all the time, that's another issue. That's a reason why not. Yeah. People that bleed all the time, that could be another reason why not. Yeah. Recently they made a new one, a new print. What's the Shabbos toothbrush? I don't know what that is. Thicker bristles, maybe? I guess maybe they're concerned of absorbing. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not familiar. This is regular toothbrush from the past, and that's what's fine. Yeah, okay. So that's regarding that question. You want to stump me on the spot like that? Huh? Deodorant, if it doesn't smell, it's for sure. If it's a spray, it's for sure permitted. If it's stick deodorant, if it's stick mamish, not like the ball. If it's stick not roll-on. Stick is for sure forbidden. If it's a roll-on, that could be lean, but it could be other issues. Well, that might be okay, but if it has a smell, then it's the pashto is fine, but there's room to be strict. I mean, cologne is for sure forbidden. Deodorant, cologne is also around Shabbos. Huh? So cologne could be always forbidden for other reasons, but on Shabbos it's forbidden even for ladies also. Forbidden for a woman to put on perfume on Shabbos. For Shabbos, but on Shabbos is also. I spoke to her once and he told me you shouldn't tell your wife to not put on perfume because if she wants to, it's fine. There's room to be lenient. But the Rebbe says you're not supposed to. So for sure not, but besides other reasons. But if it's deodorant, even if it has a smell, it could be permitted because deodorant, the intention is not to make a good smell. It's that you take away the bad smell. That's what I mean, deodorant. So that's why, even if it ends up having a good smell, if that's not the kavanah, there's room to be lenient. But only a spray, a stick is for sure forbidden. What? Why is a stick forbidden? Because that's when mareach, and then you're smearing it on. Yeah.
If it doesn't have a smell, it's more lenient or more strict?
More lenient. Doesn't have a smell, it's more lenient. But if it's a stick, even without a smell, is also. Roll-on is like an in-between level, because it's not mareach, but it's more, whatever. It seems like it's more reason to be machmir. Yeah, okay. All right. What is practically shtus dikdusha, basi lagani? So we're coming up soon to Yud Shvat. So we learned the Mamorim of Basi Lagani. In the Basi Lagani Mamorim, the Rebbe says that we have to have shtus dikdusha. Shtus means stupidity or wildness. It has to be in a holy way. And over there in the Maimer, he brings from the Gemara, and the Gemara describes shtus dikdusha. Who remembers what the Gemara says? Juggling. It says that there was one of the Tanoim that he would come to chasanas and he would dance and he would juggle by the chasana. And he behaved in a wild kind of way, in a seemingly childish kind of way. And the other Chacham said, well, yeah, different opinions exactly how he juggled or what he did exactly. But Gemara says that the other rabbis were like, this is a pasnish, you're a whole rabbi, you're not making a fool out of yourself, like you're a clown or something. And later on, when he passed away, what happened? The pillar of fire surrounding him, and the Chacham said, oh, now we see that his shtus, according to one Girsa, the fact that he behaved like, in a foolish way, that's the reason why he reached such a high level, because it says only once in a generation does you have this such a fire. So shtus dikdusha is where a person puts himself to do a mitzvah and he doesn't care what people say about him and he'll act in a way which sometimes is not fitting for him. So that's the general rule. Now, individually, it really depends every person, every situation. There are shtus dikdusha can be for some people when they sit and learn after Seder. For them, that's shtus dikdusha. For some bachim, in their mind, learning after Seder, come on, that's crazy. Oh, you think it's crazy? Then that's what you got to do. For some bachim, waking up early is considered shtus dikdusha, because me waking up early, that's considered shtus dikdusha. For some I'm learning in Seder, shtus dikdusha. Right, but you're learning the shtusim of Kedusha. That's another example of shtus dikdusha. Learning those Gemara. The mefarshim on it. Yeah, those Gemara. So no, it's called like whatever. Akapanim, so it really depends on the person and the situation. All right? Yeah, exactly. You get the fire, right. So but it's really depending on the person. It can be many different things. It's really a question for every individual, what he's up to. Whatever for you thinks, that's a crazy thing for me to do in Yiddishkeit, then you do that. That's just for many Bachrim, a shtus dikdusha would be getting rid of a smartphone and having a dumb phone instead. Right? Ach, you ready for that? Shtus dikdusha. That would be a huge shtus dikdusha to make someone to make a jump. It's a switchback, it's shtus diklipa. But that would be a crazy thing, which that it's more chsidish, but it's like, it's crazy for me. That would be a shtus dikdush. I should switch back. Question, is COL Live kosher? COL Live. COL is a website that is news. So is it kosher? So Bechlal, the Rebbe is against Bachrim, and really Chassidim Bechlal, but specifically Bachrim, getting involved in any kind of news. The Rebbe wants Bachrim to be involved only in Torah v'Avodah. What's COL? The Rebbe wants Bachrim just to learn Torah. The Rebbe doesn't want Bachrim to follow politics, not general politics, not internal politics, not Chabad politics. The Rebbe doesn't want Bachrim to follow any of these kind of things. And therefore, for Bachrim, there should be, that's the Rebbe wants it. There's a, I said this recently, I don't know where I said this, but I'll say it again. I don't think it was when I said it. There's a Yid, his name is Rabbi Aaron Cousins. He's a shliach, he's a chassid living in Leeds, I think, or somewhere in England. And he's kind of hard in his 80s. So he remembers as a bacher and the Yuds and the Chavs, he says, at the Bachim, we're starting having a koch and shlichus. Like we're working on shlichus. And apparently, I forget how it got to the Rebbe. And by Fabrengen, the Rebbe said the bacher should not be thinking about the future, should not be involved in anything besides Torah v'Avodah. Davening and learning, nothing else should be on the bacher's mind. A bacher should not know anything else that's going on. And that's so when it comes, that's when I said it. Okay? So I said, no more guys weren't there. So Mamela, any kind of news website is for a bacher is not kosher, whether it's Anash.org or Kanait's info or Chabad info. Any of the news websites for a bacher are not kosher. Yeah. Could it be if the article has lashon hara, then it's lashon hara. Some articles have lashon hara, some articles don't have lashon hara. How is that allowed? Well, how do they justify themselves by saying lashon hara? They claim that they have a rabbinic board which supervises their articles, and there are rules and there are things in lashon hara which are permitted. Saying something which everybody knows already is permitted, and usually these websites, by the time they post their information, most people know from other sources anyway already. So it's often the lashon hara. It's not an issue of lashon hara, but it's not ideal. But it could be. It's not an aver. Yes, many.
It's based on Mashiach with their hair like that.
Their hair for sure not. Their hair is called kule kedusha. Beis Mashiach. The last page of their hair. What's there? I don't know what's there. What's there? Zia. Zia is not a problem, but it's not kedusha. No. Akopanim. Beis Mashiach. When they originally started, I think there were more, but I don't think it also has some news and some politics and stuff like that. So that l'chayr is, I would say, is also problematic. Reb Mendel Futterfass would not read a Kfar Chabad magazine. Kfar Chabad was before Beis Mashiach. Beis Mashiach, he was upset about, but Kfar Chabad magazine, he said it's muksa on Shabbos. So Beis Mashiach is also for him the same thing. Why do we? We are trying to get it again because I'm saying the ideal. With Poel Mamish, most Bachrim do follow what's going on in the news and on Dortmund. So therefore, let them get it from Beis Mashiach instead of from other places. But the ideal, there was something, but I didn't follow all the back and forth about it. So I heard something like that, but I don't want to say without looking into it more. Is postville the best yeshivah? And if yes, why? There's no best yeshiva. Every yeshiva is good for some people and good, not good for other people. On the podcast that we have over here, you see the brachim coming on. You see some people have very warm memories to share their years in postville. Some people have other things to talk about because it's not necessarily so. Every yeshiva is good for some people, not good for other people. You do have to believe in hashgacha pratis, which means you have to believe that if Hashem put me in a certain place at a certain time, that's where I have to be. So I can say, and I really believe in this, that for every bacher sitting here right now, postville is the best yeshiva for you. However, maybe tomorrow you'll be somewhere else, and then that'll be the best yeshiva for you. But right now, wherever you are, hashgacha pratis, this is where Hashem wants you to be. Right now, this is the best yeshiva for you, and that should be that way till the pashas till the end of the year. When the year is done, then you have to reevaluate and see, and maybe I find to move somewhere else. But in general, wherever you are, and every bacher and other yeshivas, wherever they are, that's the best place for them. And that, because that's where Hashem puts you. That's the best thing for you. That's where you're supposed to be. All right. Question. Can you please tell me a hack, trick, to be able to sit and learn without getting distracted? Would it help to learn out of Zal? So I mentioned before the story about the 5 minutes at a time. That could be something, that can be a hack or a trick. Another suggestion, when I was a bacher, there were some Chassidish bachrim that were very careful not to talk in the middle of Seder. Shneers can get some ideas now. They would put up a paper next to them on their desk, and it said Seder. They taped it to their table, and when someone would come to them in the middle of Seder, they would point at the paper, like, nu'ah, like, I can't talk now, it's the middle of Seder. Nu'ah, like the middle of, after the davening, I can't talk. Nu'ah. I cringed, but they ended up learning. Wow. So this is even more than that. So that's the one suggestion where you make such a achlata. Another achlata can be just for 10 minutes. There's something which, as one of the best bachrim in the yeshiva likes to do this, it usually works for him, where he takes my phone and he puts a timer on, and that's it. For 10 minutes he's learning and nothing's stopping. Most of the time it works for him. Sometimes, no, sometimes he lets the phone by me, and then he has 10 minutes and it works also. A couple of years ago, we had Rabbi Amar came here to Fabreng for Shabbos fathers and sons, and he said that he does it for himself. He says sometimes he feels like too distracted, he can't learn or whatever, he has to do his things. He said he also takes out his phone, puts out a timer, 5 minutes, no matter what. And then he says, usually once he gets into 5 minutes, usually it continues flowing another 10, 15 minutes. So that's something which another idea, which a trick to get yourself to focus is just now, 10 minutes, no matter what I'm learning. And then you can, you see it, it'll continue or won't continue. So that's another hack where you can try to do that. Another idea is take a picture of the Rebbe and look at the Rebbe and look at the picture and have in mind that the Rebbe is looking at me and therefore I'm the Rebbe's chassid and the Rebbe has big expectations of me and that can sometimes inspire you. Another suggestion is to learn Perek Malach and Tanya, the first page, but mainly V'hine Hashem nitzav alav. Spend a few minutes, think about that possuk, about that quote from the Tanya. Hashem is standing over me, watching me, wants to learn Tanya. Another suggestion, which a friend of mine in yeshiva used to do, he would take a sefer as a chroinus. He says it just gets me inspired. Open a sefer as a chroinus, read a couple of chapters, and then, okay, fine. He gets inspired by it, and then he was Gemara. He told me it worked for him all the time. He would take it in the middle of the Seder Gear, so it wasn't working. Open sefer as a chroinus, and he would start learning. Didn't work for you. Okay, but everyone else. So these are the number of suggested hacks and ideas in order to learn the Gemara. All right. Ad kan la'ayom. That's all I prepared. I thought I'm going to be done longer. So there's more questions. I don't have more.